for anti-stratting. So let's see if there's depth to the play of these two teams on their funky comps.
Yeah, this game is going to be spaghetti. I'm just going to, right off the bat, do a big GLHF to the observers because there's going to be harbor pockets, you know, double walls, things like that. There's no senties, so there's going to be big flank plays, TPs, craziness. This game is about to get hectic and crazy. And I'm all here for it. Especially if it's going to be the deciding map of this grand final, which is, I feel the way this is kind of trending, but we'll see what we're going to get here. Jump spot from Sandra, spotting out multiple players there, and G2 started to make some inroads towards B. You've got the 3 players just playing pivot in spawn. Falcon's not quite sure which side they want to commit to yet.
It's like they know they're going to go for a retake. You know, one player is playing scouting extremities at the extremities of OP. And have 2 players at the back.
Right there.
And it's the wingman to place that spike down. And it's ResQ with the first kill. 2 players into elbow already. G2 goes and seems to be covering that angle for now. And it's Amy to shut down both of these players herself. G2 goes in, bringing in momentum from the previous map. And it looks like they'll be closing out this one flawlessly with only 1 player remaining in their attempt to get a kill here. Ever fully telegraphed 3 players. Pika, and it's an Andalucia flawless to start off map number 3.
Yeah, nice little set play from G2. Cove to be able to prog out of with the Gecko flash up over the top. Set exit off the bat for G2, and Amy back in fine form. It seems like she's kind of having struggle street on bind in both of the games against Falcons, but sorry, on split rather, in both of the games versus Falcons, but back here on bind, I actually kind of expect her to power up. She had some massive rounds on this game, and I think particularly with this comp, she's left on her own on the lurk, you know, with the Viper on this attacking side quite often, and plays that pseudo senti role on defense, whereas the rest of G2 gonna be getting a bit crazy with it. Not this round though. Pavlos, obviously, we're in the anti-eco. Snakebite, actually quite cute to come in through the roof there. That's a cheeky little lineup that I wouldn't mind stealing, and ResQ gonna get herself a freebie ult orb for the Yoru ult.
Fake teleport.
As soon as any noise is made from G2 goes in here towards this A site, you can see the 3 players lurking in spawn have already made their way into this A site, trying to fend off against ResQ. The pinch has gone a little bit too far. Never mind, Toki walks right into it. Quite unfortunate, I'd say, for the lack of a better word.
Rest of G2, just contact walking straight into U-Haul behind this wall. That's a Bulldog retreat for Mad V, though. This round's going to get messy.
Petra. First shot, line covered. Perfect weapon for the situation, to be fair. Everybody is on no shields. But hang on a second. Falcons have turned it all around with 2 kills of their own. This could be very doable. Cascade from Vanya. Not going to be moving forward after that. G2 goes and need a pick, because Falcons have found themselves a Bulldog.
30 seconds left.
And Eva is the dangerous player that you need to look out for on this one. And she's going all the way around the world to greet G2 in short, while the rest of Falcons are happy to hold that back of the site. Petra, that second shot was nuts.
I'm out of stock.
But this is where Eva comes in play, but she doesn't quite have her gun out. You need to have your Bulldog out, but you do have time. Toki moving in to the smoke herself. That's the pick. And actually, the Harbor Smoke is working to G2's advantage, although they haven't quite touched the spike yet. And Petra's going to play the waiting game. 3 kills to her name. Getting a 4th here! And Petra's got it all covered without an issue at all. A Red Bull clutch. And G2 secure their 2nd round.
Yeah, we've seen her buying the Outlaw on bind pretty much every single time, and anti-eco, and against the half buys, the low buys, it's actually been worth its weight in gold. And once again, Petra coming up huge for G2. Shouldn't have been needed to, but as you can see in the replay there, Luge and Toki, bro, those classics were throwing hands that round. I don't even know what those double, triple dinks were doing, bro. And that has done a number on G2's economy. So Falcons now with the buy up, a potential chance to go for an easier reset round here, but here's this Hero Vandal on Amy. Another free orb for ResQ. Or actually, it's going to go over to Petra, and that's the Empress online.
4 players at the back of the A site. Goes into the hard take here from G2. Goes and Toki's able to find the right Yoru clone. And at the same time, Falcons are finding a lot of success with the Vandals to the back of the site. G2 goes and though, turn it all back around. Really strong with that Sheriff. And Amy's got the back line covered. So G2 goes in a matter of seconds, are now on top with Eva trying to do it alone. And the guiding light won't be finding anything. And the spike is in the middle of the open. So she can only hope that someone is going to be checking on showers, but no, G2 are going to play this one together. Amy's got it all locked and covered, and Falcons on their buy round are unable to win it.
Yeah, G2, big recovery after taking a lot of economic damage in round 2 there. Thought they were going to play the mollies in the post plant, but I'll tell you what, man, the more and more I watch these walk up behind the walls and dropping the walls after, you know, getting a lot of gas, the other team's expecting, or in that case, the other player ever potentially expecting a long wall cycle, then it just gets dropped on you. Super, super effective play, it feels like, with the popularity of Viper. Not even saying recently, because it's just been in the meta for such a long time now. Yeah. At least it's not as broken as it used to be, but
that's true.
Definitely a popular choice. Another anti-eco here for G2, and I'm once again getting the sense that Amy's back in that kind of star mentality. I don't think Split has really been her map, but from the other games on certain maps that I've seen from her, she will add some more firepower to G2 here, for sure.
Petra on the Reina has a different role here, right? Opening up, being a different wave of approach. Falcons have got the gist of what's going on. It's Mad V's first to drop. Toki. That's ridiculous. Another kill like that could actually put Falcons in contention. But with Eva peeking out of the smoke, Vanya's got it all locked and covered. And Sandra trying to find cover. And a gun as well. Only if G2 goes and make a mistake here, Sandra can do anything. But it looks like that might not be that easy. Spike to the corner, no one's peeking. Vanya's coming in from behind as well. Sandra can get one. That's all she can get, as it's a flawless streak of rounds thus far for G2 Gozen.
If you're keeping score,
continuing the good streak. Win that Falcons were able to pick up on this map previously. Sandra played a very important role on the radar. Defaulting bathrooms a lot of the time on the attacking side, and then obviously on defense being able to contest. I think after a rough map in the map previous, it's going to be hard to pick yourself up. Obviously, Sandra is one of the players that's had to have a role change going into this Falcons squad, new Falcons squad rather, previously being a duelist player and now having to mainly play Senti, but also even flexing into things like Fade on Sunset. So wanting to try to see her get back into the duelist mentality after getting bullied a little bit in the last map on the Sentinel. Because if you're going to play that Reina, you need to be shooting hard. And so far, Petra, I mean, look, she saved them in round 2 and most of them were the anti-eco kills, but impactful anti-eco kills for once on the Outlaw. She's kind of been, you know, just decent on the Reina, I would say. No big performances. I think a big performance from one of these Reinas could be map, and in this case, especially being up 2-0 for G2, grand final defining. But the other thing I definitely want to focus on for this round is the ults. G2, this comp is so damn scary when they got their ults up. Reckoning and Thrash both online to open up this site. Yoru ult, half the time, if they're ripping the ults at you early in the round, it's just the S key. Or just W back into spawn and, you know, start to think about the retake, to be honest.
And Falcons have got this defense approach where they stick 3 players into spawn, and they've done it so many times so far, which makes it impossible for them to have numbers advantage early on the attack. But as soon as they hear movement, you can see the fast reversal to the back of this site. Thrasher out early. Mimi finds nothing, but draws the Thrasher right back to the center of the site. Rescue now will be the first play in contention. And they're waiting to throw in a flash to follow up with an attack. Splitting the site in 4 pieces. G2 are able to dance around it with perfection. Although Wingman is out and the spike hasn't been planted yet, Petra drops, so it gives Falcon some hope. There is a wraparound in the making. It seems that there's Vanya looking in that direction, which is good enough to shut her down. And now, Falcons force them out of the B site. G2 Gozen take no other excuses to stick around and move over as fast as possible.
He had the rotation through market side from Vanya, so the TP would have been pretty suicidal for Falcons. They're going to try to complete this retake with the Cascades and the Satchel out if possible. No more smokes left over on the brim here.
Smoked off for now. A 3-on-3 that Falcons desperately need. Losing this one, being 5-0. Can't be easy on your psyche at all. You're already 2 maps down. Vanya close to the action. That's the first pick. Turns around for the second. God, she's a queen. And there you go. G2 keeps on giving and don't want to drop a single round.
Another back-to-back 3K from Vanya. 8-2 in this map already so far in the series, mate. Plus 25. This is a monstrous grand final from Vanya. Got to be feeling for Falcons right now, having to play off against her for this first place because it's looking like a difficult prospect. The first bullet accuracy in the crosshair placement is just so snappy. Vanya's mechanics just insane here for G2 goes and another half buy for Falcons. They're just getting pummeled once again on this map of bind. There's the flash over the top though, going to completely catch Petra. Player advantage. Weapon drop down at the bottom of B long, but they don't feel confident enough to scale forth and try to retrieve that.
Well, the instant Falcons switch up their play and are proactive in their gameplay, they end up getting something out of it. And talk about proactivity, Mad V wants to replicate that, but on the other side of a map. Never spotted, but at the same time, she's figured out what G2 Gozen's moving for. They haven't cleared out showers just yet, so Rescue's on that duty, but Mad V is the linchpin here. What she does will be the most crucial aspect of Falcon's round here. Yet to be spotted. Vanya turns around, but Mad V can't find the shot in time. And it's weapon superiority to take it. And now equilibrium. 4 versus 4. Mimi close to the action. Falcon's not comfortable to take the fight. Viper spit out, and Mimi's there to cover the angle. And all of a sudden, Falcon's trailing far behind. Only 2 players remaining. And with G2 closing up the distance with shorties in hands, it can't be too comfortable at all. But they've got to take a chance here. The next round is where they buy. This one is one that was for the history books already. But it's damage they're looking for. And I'm not quite sure how much damage G2 Gozen is willing to give them.
Last player remaining.
Bot shots through. And eventually G2 Gozen gets it done. And for 6 consecutive rounds, Falcons have not found an inch on bind.
Pit, so oppressive there. I think at least Falcons doing enough to at least force out that ult is something. But it's kind of, you know, wooden spoon award at this point when you're down 0-6 on bind. So need to change something up here for Falcons. The flood approach has not really been doing them many favors. Orbital's online for Luge here. Getting close to the Seekers on Eva, who after some hard carry performances on the previous map is having a rough one this time around. Someone else will have to step up probably. Cascade progressing up short A here. G2 preparing themselves for this A execute, and Mimi's got the kill with the mosh pit over the top. Beautiful stuff.
Toki is in trouble here. Paint chills not quite thrown out in time. And yeah, it's all crumbling here for Falcons. There's not much you can say about it because G2 have been winning trade after trade. Yes, Falcons did switch it up, but it was a bit disjointed. 2 players, 2 different locations, both of them not quite able to trade their lives. And it's a story as simple as that to put G2 in front. Mad V trying to change the fate of this round herself. Petra in the fight, but it's Mad V to collect it. Amy, with the information given, will step out of the shadows, get one herself, but back into safety. And Rescue's there for a guarantee. This is difficult. They both hide within the smoke itself. Broken quickly and off the spike. Mad V doubles up, and maybe there's a chance. Captain v Captain, but it's Mimi to take home the win.
G2 just all over this grand final right now, 7-0. Mad V doing an absolute dime. Some really nice shots being hit, but it's a util protocol. The set play to be able to take bathrooms that gets pretty much a free kill there for G2 before they even kick off the side exit. And despite some heroics from Mad V and a massive 4K with some very nice shots being hit, it's still not enough for Falcons to get something going here. Another timeout for Falcons Vega under a lot of pressure. Economy's built up quite substantially here for G2. It's a massive uphill battle to be able to try to make this a competitive half at this point.
Yeah. And it feels like G2 have kind of got what Falcons want to do with this composition. down on paper, right? They saw so many rounds of buying being played out yesterday, in the number of 26 rounds to be exact, that I think they've got this all figured out. Really nicely done by the coaching staff to kind of allow G2 to do as they please, but also I think you've got to take Falcon's psyche into consideration as well. They can't be feeling too great right now, being 2-0 down in maps and 7-0 down in rounds.
Yeah, and I think just to, you know, touch on the storylines here, I mean, G2 so far this tournament in the group stage, losing to Falcons, maybe not looking like this superstar rebuild is going to guarantee them a win in game changers, at least for stage 1. And obviously they have this history of being such a dominant roster in the past. The end of last year was definitely a bit of a departure from that, qualifying for champs on points overall. Oh, hey. So I think, look, the way that this grand final is going is definitely a bit of a return to that dominant G2 narrative yet again after slipping up against Falcons in the group stage. Both the upper bracket and this grand final have been absolute domination for G2, and it might be them kind of setting the scene and the pathway for what's to come for the rest of the game changer scene this year. Might be everyone else playing for second.
Toki is aggressive very far forwards here, doubles up, is actually finally working out for the Falcons side as G2 greet them in that long exchange, and blinking you miss it, Falcons get around this map.
Yeah, I mean, post timeout, just the 4-player fight straight down B long, hit him with the scissors paper rock treatment. Gonna be good for Falcons to get around. Those are the kind of rounds that you can throw in there. You know, there's a key word we use for that in my team that is not broadcast appropriate for send it down B long and take duels. But yeah, it's definitely a strat that can get you rounds, can definitely change up the pace and the momentum on defense.
I'm actually curious now. I'm actually mega curious. You're going to have to tell us later, off stream. But for now, it's Falcons knowing that what works for them is taking aggressive stances. And they're doing exactly that. Sandra's gone a little bit too far though. No reinforcements as Falcons also double up outside of Hookah, allowing G2 goes and move into B scot-free. But they've gained a lot of map space.
Yeah, this is the protocol for Falcons. We saw this against Giant X. As soon as they lose B long control, they actually just take Hookah and push straight down the middle of the map. I like the approach, particularly against a comp that doesn't have a Sentinel. So you've actually had both teams kind of pass each other like ships in the night. Falcons, the read is that this is an A hit and they're just maintaining bathrooms control. G2 not quite feeling comfortable enough with, you know, sound being cut by Falcons that they can get into this B site for free.
EMEA is looking. The thing is, also, at the same time, the two players are back. There's players coming in at them from all sorts of directions. And EMEA can only live for so long. At least it's bought enough time for G2 Gozen to move into this B site. But it's still a 3v4.
Thrash and Reckoning going to be difficult to complete a retake against those ults. And Petra with the Empress active going to take this duel towards Spawn side, evening up the numbers.
Petra still has the confidence to take duels like that. Falcons moving in together as a unit. They play as strong. Petra still fragging strong. Wingman in support. And it's Sandra all to herself with not long to live. A quadra for Petra and G2 keeping the win going.
That's what you want to see from the Reyna. Just quick duels being taken with the Empress active. Feels so oppressive to play against for all the plebs in ranked. Someone's having a good game on the Reyna. You're just getting wide peeked over and over again into dismiss. Absolutely no trade potential. It's what happens when your Reyna comes up huge and actually has impact. 11 and 6 for Petra. Big fight over short A here.
Falcons super aggressive in this one. Petra this time around is feeling hot. With a quadra, she got the last round. She'll be opening up this one, but does fall shortly after. Thrasher does catch one, but Lush is there to counteract this aggression. There's already rotations in the making here for Falcons, so Vanya pins it in with nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Falcons right back in the fight, get a second round themselves.
Yeah, the protocol immediately pushing straight up the guts as that short A hit comes in. They know that those their players over on the A side of the map play aggressively on short A, and they don't want to be left in an early retake situation. So stomping it straight through market against a comp that has no Sentinel. That's what I was saying before we got into this map. That's why this map turns into spaghetti sometimes with these kind of comps. You just get these quick flanks, these crazy rounds that are over in 10 seconds. But you got to give a massive shout out to Luge there to be able to save Toki after the thrash just shuts her down.
Oh, that's a very aggressive thrasher from Toki, but it actually pays dividends. Falcons decide that the way to go is with full pedal to the metal. And as G2 wrap into showers, Toki might be going all the way around to greet them. Amy's got the angle covered. Flash in Toki's direction. Rez picks her up, and it's already a 4 versus 4. But just like the round before, there wouldn't be a round of Falcons in this latter stage of the second half without a flank.
Yeah, they're just trying to get into the game. You know, it feels like they've been trying to flood play against whatever retake scenario they end up in after G2's executed, and now they're just trying to take a bit of control of their own lives at this point, make something happen, push on the map, be proactive and assertive, which is exactly what ResQ's doing with this Yoru ultimate, clearing out all of this A site and creating space for G2 to be able to flood up on into it. There's the high tide and the wingman plant.
I think only one player was spotted throughout it, but with the element of nation, they can sort of figure out where the rest are.
30 seconds
Sandra
left.
causing a lot of noise here. A lot of G2 players looking in this direction, and it buys time for Mad V to come in as well to do some damage of her own, and the spike hasn't quite gone down yet. We're at 20 seconds. G2 need to be very careful with this. Mad V in the mosh pit couldn't get away, and it's ever alone. Spike picked up.
10 seconds
not
left.
quite a safe position from Eva here.
Planted.
Oh, actually it is, never mind. So no interruption available. And with the rescue going all the way behind Eva here, there's no way Eva will look behind her in time. So G2 guaranteeing a really strong score by the end of this half, with only 1 round remaining in it.
Another 4K from ResQ there. Massive attempt to be able to turn around like that. Obviously, G2 going down early on to the quick showstopper straight up short, playing a player down right from the get-go. And ResQ this time being the player to step up and bail G2 out of trouble. Continuing to just dominate this grand final. Falcons, it's a very meager looking buy to close out the half here. Does not inspire much confidence at all. One off the orbital on Luge is probably the only thing worth talking about, unless Mad V gets some sharp sheriff shots. We know she's capable of it. And Petra, smelling the weak buy, has once again got the outlaw out, even though it's the last round of the half.
Why not? Feeling confident. I mean, Falcons have been pushing quite a bit, so if you're going to be playing the spread out default, wait for them to push approach. It's probably one of the best guns to do it with. And knowing the economical troubles Falcons are in, it's a go figure to go for a weapon like that. But still, G2, very slow in the approach, knowing exactly how Falcons will be playing out the previous rounds, but it's not quite the same approach this time. The girls in green.
Rotation from the Rays. Will be 3 players with boots on the ground in the site here. Sandra spotting the short creep there.
And then they go. Sandra is the first to notice contact. Actually moves up very close to this fight. Might be tempted to move out from that smoke. Pressure into showers, but both of the players taking the fights from Falcons have lost their lives.
Back to me.
And G2 seem very comfortable entering the second part of this round. On the post plant, Toki's got to do so much. That's one pick, one piece of the puzzle. And with Rez having all the information available to her, will get a couple of kills herself. Eva, alone, finds a kill before she drops, but that's G2. Double digits even before the half ends.
Switching sides.
And that's such a strong play on their attack.
There's nothing in this game for Falcons, and Eva, not sure what's happened to her in this game of Bind. You know, she's been a player that's been so reliable, one of the highest rated players in the entire competition. This is a very rare bad map from her, especially given the fact that, you know, Toki's doing decently, Madvu is doing decently, but overall it feels like G2 just bigger, faster, stronger in this entire series. I'm extremely worried about Falcons here. Gonna need a bit of a miracle on this attacking side. Got to start with the pistol, that's for sure.
One step at a time, right? They managed to bring up a glorious comeback on the second map split, but they didn't quite
close it out as they would have liked. First things first is this pistol round, and G2 know exactly what is going on. They've dropped back completely. Petra not wanting to trade a life. Amy gets one and gets out of there scot-free. Only get half points of health for and out as we enter the post plant. It hasn't even been planted just yet. Falcons eager to take lamp control because they didn't quite have it, which allows Petra to get a nice little kill onto Sandra. Oh dear, might be overcooking a little bit here, Falcons, as the stress is getting to them. Mad V to the back of it. But the wall is good to keep G2 safe. And once it drops, they'll be able to use this Dizzy to move out of it as well. Mimi, one. Vanya as well. And Falcons are trailing behind 1 player against 3. Eva, with not many kills to her name, won't be stacking up those stats anytime soon. G2 goes in with a pistol win, seemingly inevitable for them to close out this series.
Yeah, and I think we've seen the strength of G2 as big game players in this series. That round's another perfect example of it. There's another round on Split, you know, where they're in the post plant, they're in the mid round. They're not overcooking it. They're just waiting for Falcons to push. They're waiting for Falcons to make mistakes. Sitting, waiting for the flood. Perfect timing on the Dizzy. Great patience from Mimi to be able to actually pounce on Falcons, trying to wrap backside a U-Haul there. Force buy here from Falcons. Last-ditch attempt to try to make something happen here. Will be strong against the Outlaw purchase for the most part.
Petra takes the first fight. Interestingly, though, Sandra's the one with first blood. They've got Sheriffs, which can pack a punch. But honestly, they need a little bit more than that.
This is pretty nice. Opening pick over to bathroom side. This is what Sandra was doing pretty fantastically against Giant X, the way that she was working bathrooms control. The old school way. I've absolutely cast a curse to her there, though, and now over onto this B long line. It's an instant burst from Vanya.
Falcons are in big trouble. They've moved in, and Vanya's dancing around them. Cannot do a thing, really. They're being pounced upon, and Falcons in desperate need of rounds with their mental in the gutter. Yeah, I kind of saw Eva look at Toki there, thinking, what now? What do we do? And honestly, I don't think many people have an answer to that question. They do at least have the spike under their control. Toki doubles up though and says that is exactly what we're going to do. Mimi draws it right back up to a 1 versus 2. Eva's got so much to do here, but she has to isolate Mimi before Amy comes into contention. Mimi is low, Bulldog chase right after her. Spots out where Amy is, and now she has to deal with 2 players. 2 seconds, she needs the kill because she can't get the spike. And she does so! The Red Bull clutch! Eva keeps Falcons right back in the fight.
After such a quiet map as well, she's quadrupled her kills, I think, or at least doubled her kills with that play. And that is why Eva sets the gold standard here, even going into a grand final where the team is getting absolutely pummeled by her ex-teammate. She is a reigning champ of EMEA, at least for now. I don't know how much longer that's going to last, but they've at least broken the money of G2 with that round 2 bye. And now a potential chance to start to string some rounds together. It's exactly as you mentioned, though. It's just one step at a time. Nothing to get too excited about. It's still pretty far gone here for Falcons. They're going to find themselves another orb. But, you know, every good comeback starts with a couple of steps.
Well, they pretty much heard all of the players from G2 moving out of the TP.
Spike planted.
So Falcons will be looking in that direction. I mean, they were so close to each other, it could have been 4, so they are taking care if anybody's moving in from spawn. Potential burn into showers. Purge moves out of the shadows. Petra picks up 1. Bulldog collected. And maybe things get a little bit dicey here. Just maybe. It's a long way to go for G2. And with Evan close by, Banyan will drop, and the rest of G2 will drop like flies also. With only pistols, there's nothing they can do, and the Falcons have got themselves a 4th. A long way to go here. Definitely not an easy one, but step by step, right, Pilski?
Absolutely. Close to a lot of pretty big ults here as well, keeping over the Bulldogs. So we'll see if there's any bathrooms or orb control from the side of Falcons in a round like this, and whether G2 will play around that. Reckoning online here for Vanya. definitely be useful in one of these retake situations. And it looks like both G2 going to contest showers quite heavily. They don't want to let them have the orb here, Pavlos.
It's not going to be that easy. The idea of what both of these teams are fighting for, and so far, nobody's going to be getting that orb anytime soon. It's just the kill trade to come out. Falcon sees shower control, repositioning from G2. And you can see a quick wraparound coming in from Vanya, but would it be quick enough? Harbazol used onto the side. Amy, a good side angle that could catch them up on their cross, and that's exactly what happens. Sandra is down, so is Luj. And in a matter of seconds, Falcon's firepower has been halved in two. And yeah, with 1 minute to spare, it's hard to imagine what Falcons can do to get themselves back into this one.
Amy's deep on this market line. It's going to take a kill from Eva and probably an Insta-Seekers to read the rotation if they're going to have a chance in this round.
Right there. One enemy remaining.
Amy aligned. Not quite. But Amy's there to pick up the pieces. G2 goes in. 1 round away from collecting their 6th EMEA Game Changer title.
Yeah, they're back. They're back, Pavlos. They're stomping their mark on the region. This superstar rebuild and experience in this grand final has really been shining through. And Falcons, I think, just not ready for a grand final like this, it's seeming like. You can't blame them, though. You know, 3rd place at the end of last year. They just came through from the relegation. This is their first grand final. These are the kind of lessons that you need to learn to become a winner. And it's going to be, once again, a massive fight in short A.
I've got your trail.
Push comes in. Toki looking to lead the charge. This is a final desperate attempt here from Falcons to remain into the game. They were able to square a lot of rounds by the end of the last one to not lose miserably, but can they do it again to at least give them a chance for an overtime play?
Spike planted.
ResQ will be alone in this one, and Falcons will be happy to take this fight, but Eva doesn't check the corner. That is crucial. Flash blinding a couple of players, but Sandra's still able to pick up the kill. How will this work out? Thrasher enabled by G2. Luj hiding out. But it's Amy with a triple. G2, they're so close to it, they can smell it. A Toki 1 versus 3. That seems so freaking difficult right now. They know exactly where she hides. They know exactly where she is. She only has time in her favor, but nothing else. G2 goes in, and now your 6th-time EMEA Game Changer champs, and flawlessly take back what's righteously theirs.
It's the start of a new G2 dynasty. I'm feeling like the massive pickups of the star players of all of their rivals last year. Amy comes in from Ascend, Vanya in from BBL, and G2 looking scary as all hell for the rest of the Game Changers scene. You can see how much it means to them, despite the fact that, you know, a couple of them have already won a couple of titles. Vanya, obviously, the only reigning champ now that Eva goes down in that grand final, and Falcons, as I mentioned before,